away, too, here. Who knows what
All right.
will happen. Rumble ban, nothing crazy. Renekton as well. Likely not going to see any variation in these bans. Vlad also taken off the table. Don't want Gillette to run through with that one.
Seeing him on Vlad, it's very scary.
End of the line.
And very fast bans.
Yeah.
Keeping the same ones from Maryville.
Right.
Rumble,
Yep.
Vlad,
It's
Graves.
the same across the board. Caitlyn gone too. Prototype's not going to get that one, so
Yeah.
no change in the bans thus far. We'll see if there's a change in the picks now. First pick coming out. Saskia has the option to grab whatever his team needs, and that's an interesting conversation at this point.
It is. I mean, what do you really prioritize? Like, what can you look at that doesn't give anything away? Karma. Karma doesn't give anything away. Like, and that's the thing. Free Papa Chow opting to take the Karma again instead of the Lulu. And that just kind of shows how comfortable he felt playing on that Karma into Evan RL's Lulu in the last game. And that's a big statement. Because
Right.
we've seen how comfortable he is on Lulu, and West Coast Carry taking the Shin away, and maybe
And the
taking
Ez-
away
yeah.
the Ezreal.
I think they'll lock it in. Yeah,
Yeah.
Buckzak, no slouch on that champion. So if you were thinking, as a Maryville fan, oh, they're not going to change too much. All they have to do is keep playing the same composition, and they're not going to get to. Boom, Protect the Ezreal is now off the table. Goodbye.
It is, and that... Oh man, I really want to cast a Kled game. I was really sad when West Coast Carry played that.
So this would be a little BM.
Played the Kled.
This would be a little BM coming out from Saskia. He might just be sending a message. Kled, the only champion actually that West Coast Carry has lost on this entire time. It was the game number 1 versus Grand Valley State that he locked in Kled. They lost that game. They did not do well in that game.
They did not.
And so I think, yeah, it's just a little bit of BM hover. I don't think they're actually going to lock that one
Yeah,
in.
Fiora and Gragas makes a lot more sense.
He says, take away my shed. Hey, remember that time you lost? That is exactly what that was. A shot across the nose. Jody Walrus will be playing Gragas here, though.
Yeah, and that's actually really exciting. I
Might be
believe,
Greg Tom.
I believe Chody Walrus, how many times did he play Gragas at all? No.
No.
I am thinking of Mordio, I think, played a couple of Gragas games.
Well, so right now Gragas is in a position where he could very easily just be a top laner as well. We saw that come out from Mega Zero
That's true.
in the Carnegie Mellon versus Stony Brook series. He just played that both games, rolled through on it. We'll see. As an answer to Shen, I don't know how well Gragas matches up in that 1v1.
I think I would have to say Chody Walrus is probably on that Gragas in the jungle, though, with the Fiora pickup for the top.
Oh, duh. Yeah.
It's all right. We spent a lot of time talking about Gragas, and Fiora just kind of slid. She lunged in.
Right. Didn't see that one coming. Kha'Zix locked in for Mordio. Gonna change only slightly, as stylistically very similar to Rengar. Odd to see that one picked up, but might be in a response to Gragas. Something with quick clear can make the fat man run around the map.
I think I like Kha'Zix just a little bit more than I like Rengar, but also just because I like Kha'Zix, I feel brings a lot more ult pressure than Rengar does. Rengar can ult and the whole team can be scared, but then if everyone stands together, like Rengar doesn't have nearly as much scary kill potential as Kha'Zix does. Oh, please play the Galio rework. He's so fun.
Oh my goodness.
The Galio rework is so fun.
That would be interesting. It's
I mean, they do have a mid laner open, right? And
Right.
they know the mid laner is Orianna. So they at least have guarantee you get a tank in the mid lane, a tank with a taunt, with resistance, and a semi-global ultimate now. Because of the rework, it's possible. Because you could have two semi-globals. Now they just got me really excited to play Talia. That's fine too. Talia's a cool champion.
we'll see. Now they're just
Now they're
take the
just
run of
spamming
things.
me. Whatever.
Right.
I'm done with you guys. Maryville, Robert Morris, you guys are. I'm done with all of you.
Prototype
You're all
on
done.
Sivir. Prototype on Sivir is going to be interesting to me.
Oh,
So
Cassio.
yeah. Not incredibly surprised, but I do believe the side of Maryville was likely expecting that one at this point. So to leave it for last round draft may just be forcing Cat God onto the Ori this time around. Says, well, you think, yeah, chances are I'm going to play Cass, but if I don't pick it early on, you won't know. You'll have to pick something defensive into it, and so that's what Cat God's going to do. Play the Orianna. There's still a lot of protection coming out for Prototype with this composition.
Agreed.
And some good ball delivery methods out of this one as well. It's a very Zerg-heavy comp coming out from the side of Maryville here. They've got speed buffs for days with these champions, and They're ready to just charge it on down.
Something interesting is we have seen Fiora played a couple of times so far in the CSL, and when she has been played, she's been played extremely well. She's an extremely strong champion, and especially into tanks. Because of her Vital Points passive, she does do deal true damage along with an extra percent of attack damage whenever she hits a Vital Point. And into tanks, that's very, very big, especially if she gets going. She's able to use the lunge to proc those, able to use her E to basically do an attack reset, double hit. She can kind of protect herself with her parry to get away from the Shin taunt. Things like that are all very big if you're Fiora, and that makes her very well played into a tank like Shin. But there's also like the issue that we talked about of if Fiora doesn't get going, it's a little bit difficult to be good on her.
Right.
Like she needs some damage items to really kind of thrive in that fighter style.
We've seen a lot of poverty top laners being played throughout this season. Things that you can manage to just scrape by on with until you're really ready to go. It was Poppy Nautilus for a while. It's transitioned to Shen's pretty favorable now. The Rumble as well. Fiora doesn't necessarily fit that same bill.
No, Fiora does not. She wants to be in your face, be extremely aggressive, and that's not a huge change to how we saw Saskia play on the Shin in that last game, though. He was very aggressive. He often was in the face of West Coast carry, even if he was losing duels. He was there. He wanted to fight. Saskia wanted to fight West Coast carry over and over again, and so with Fiora, that kind of thrives off of what he wanted to do. And so I think that is going to be an interesting point to watch. And on that note, we are going to flip it over to some commercials as we wait for the last minute and 15 seconds or so of this delay to happen. Ladies and gentlemen, do not go anywhere. We will be right back with Game 2 of Maryville University versus Robert Morris University.
Ben, Sam, and Ken are on separate journeys to defeat the menacing Vile Dragon. But let's just say luck isn't on their side. If only there was a way for them to find each other and band together. Well, that's why there's Band. It's a mobile app that allows people to come together using common interests. With Band, you can find fellow gamers, chat, schedule gaming sessions, and conduct polls. Stage epic battles with friends while sharing videos and photos along the way. So try Band today. Band. Be together.
Only $14.99.
Don't miss the call. Download Band. Communication made easy.
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Game number 2 between number 1 seed Robert Morris and looking to make the upset number 2 seed Maryville. One up in this series, ready to make something happen. We'll see if they can pop it off or not. We're here. We're into game number 2 with a defensive startup down the line, about 60 seconds in.
Yeah, neither of these teams wanted to be too aggressive early on, not wanting to show their hand. I think if one team really wanted to do that, it would be RMU having the Shin taunt, the extra damage from Kha'Zix, some poke down from by Pink's
Sure.
Bucksack with those Mystic shots, but obviously you don't want to, after that last game where your risky early game was doing okay until you lost a big fight, you want to be a little bit safer early on if you're RMU.
What's better as Lulu to start for an invade?
For an invade,
Yeah.
I would say Glitter Lance.
Okay.
Because it does the damage and the slow.
Right.
But if you think you're going to take a little, like, honestly, I would feel like it should be a more reactive. But if you just want to be straight aggro and you're like, no, we're fine, Glitter Lance.
Okay.
But maybe wait and pick up that shield. Or if you're really trying to catch someone out, maybe polymorph.
Well, that's where I was curious. Do you polymorph him or do you just slow him with the lance?
Slow him with the lance because it does a lot of damage too.
Not going to be relevant because
Because there was no invade.
just some defensive starts, and holy cow, Prototype says, yeah, you can take away the Ezreal, that's fine. I'm going to switch over to this Sivir and just blast face, and Sivir is really annoying with a lot of her harass as well. A little bit more mana thirsty than Ezreal, just because his Q is on such a low mana cost. But if those connect, it's not going to matter because there will be no health bars on the side of Robert Morris. So Spell Shield as well, very good answer into the Lulu. We'll see what all they can make of this one. Catching a lot of Mystic shots on the chin there. Prototype still as fearless as ever, charging into this lane.
Ever valiantly into battle. I think something interesting to talk about is that we did the game, the Columbia College game that we saw RMU play with Bucksack. He played... hang on.
Again?
Not again.
Hello?
Hello, team? Oh, wow. Trading back.
Yeah.
My Pinks actually ran out of mana.
Yeah,
not
he's in
able to
trouble
keep up
now.
the aggression.
Thought he would find it. Mordio! Flash for flash. Almost making something happen there, but Cat God was ready on that reaction time. He is quick as greased lightning and not going to be in any trouble on that one. Although, this is Orianna without flash now.
That's huge, actually. Orianna without flash. At least she does have her heal up for a little bit more safety. The other important thing, they did trade flash for flash, though.
Yeah.
Orianna, no flash, but Mordio also no flash.
Sure.
Chody Walrus, we have seen him. He likes to play aggressive.
Right?
But it makes me wonder if he might try to, now that he knows that Kha'Zix has no flash and only his jump, maybe he might try to play a little bit more aggressive in the enemy jungler.
Yeah.
Or enemy jungle. Sorry.
Yes. Has the option there. Flash, body slam. No slouch on that Gragas. And this could be a bait coming out from Cat God. It's going to be Chody Walrus showing his hand. Says, if anything else, we'll scare you right off. Information traded back and forth. And man, did these bot laners have bloody noses on all counts.
I guess RMU's answer to the aggressiveness of Maryville was just play as aggressive.
Right, yeah.
Like, play back in their face.
Right. Well, there's the mana cost we were talking about from Prototype. Has nothing left in the tank here, and it's going to be coming in from Mordio. Pinks wants to find it, but not going to be there. The turnaround from Chody Walrus means first blood barrel on the head. He flashes in for Pinks just to get the ghost out as well. Without the body slam, didn't really have much hope of making something happen there, so I think it was just to burn that last summoner spell and equalize the things spent on both sides for the mid lane. Nice first blood, 500 gold now in favor of Maryville.
But
Chody Walrus getting the kill.
yeah, Chody Walrus getting the kill. Something that we didn't talk about, though, is Saskew burned his teleport to try to get in there. And
That is true.
He canceled it.
Right, I think once the kill came down for sure and they knew they likely weren't going to find Gillette, it was, well, we'll get rid of that. Best case, it helped to zone. Worst case, it's a pretty bad one to lose to Shen right before he turns level 6.
Yeah, because Shin can now use his teleport to, if he takes some damage on the nose here from this Fiora, and gets a little bit low health, he can go back, use the TP to get into lane, no problem, and then he's able to use his Stand United to help around the map. I mean,
Right.
so many options are available for West Coast carry now that Saskew does not have his TP up. But-
Only a matter of time. Crashing this should be next wave that he hits level 6, but spoiler, next wave is here.
The other thing to talk about, aside from the fact that they're both about to hit level 6, and so West Coast carry, he hits level 6, right? He uses Stand United or he uses teleport. What does Saskew have to cancel that?
Right.
Absolutely nothing. But you know what West Coast Carry has to cancel Saskew's teleport?
The taunt, right.
So there's like, it's one of those things where you are in a tough position if you're Saskew. You can't do a lot to try to counter a Shen teleport or Stand United, but Shen can do a lot to counter your teleport.
Right. So at that point, you're just forcing top lane pressure if West Coast Carry does decide to get off onto another point of the map. Teleport, though, while we've been talking about this so long, is only a quarter left on that cooldown, so minute and some change there. Shouldn't be too drastic. It's a Cloud Drake, which means the fights aren't likely going to be breaking out around that dragon. Might just end up being a bot lane snafu, but with the defensive capabilities out of Prototype and Papa Chow, once Prototype hits level 6, they can just run right away if need be. So teleport advantage, yes, very much in the hands of West Coast Carry right now, but they don't really have a whole lot of options with which to use it.
The other interesting thing to note is Buckzak did go ahead and pick up that tier, which is what you want to do if you are Ezreal. But Prototype getting that BF sword right off the bat, that's a lot of extra damage coming out from Prototype if he uses those boomerang blades and is able to land them squarely into the face of Buckzak or of Evan RL.
Yeah.
Even with the Lulu shield, that is going to hurt so much. Shody Walrus stealing that away from Mordio, I believe.
Yeah, looks like he got that one. Smite did not come out from his side, but we'll check on that right quick. He does have a red buff. Mordio does not, so did take that one away without even really needing to contest it. So good play there. Is home free with that one now. Will set back Mordio a little bit. Not level 6 yet for the Kazakhs jungle. And not a lot of ganks coming out from either side. We saw them both try something in the mid lane early, but here in the late stage of the laning phase, it's sort of tapering off there, and understandably so. How do you gank into a Shen lane very well? How do you gank into a Lulu Ezreal very well? Your options are the mid laners with limited summoner spells, and so.
And that's the interesting thing, is that it's the mid laners with limited summoner spells, but he's actually not even really getting onto those mid laners on either team, right? And so it's one of those things where it's just kind of a farm fest, but Kha'Zix is going to be so much better at that than Gragas is.
Right. Well, we've seen in farming heavy situations, pressure goes over to RMU over an extended period of time. By the 20-minute mark, they're going to be quite ahead in CS if last game is any indicator of how that will go. And so it's a game that if Maryville wants to play, they better be ready to accept the consequences of. They got a nice first blood, but transitioning that into something now is a little bit harder, especially against a composition that can do so well defensively. Here's Chody Walrus with a nice flash body slam. West Coast Carry likely not going to be able to live through this one. They'll chase him under the tower. It's the ult from Chody to lock it in. Finds himself the second kill. Probably would have wanted to give that over to Saskew, but the health bar was a ticking time bomb there, and the cask was the execution that the fat man needed. And West Coast Carry takes an L in that top lane off the bat.
That's actually exactly what I was talking about in that pick ban phase, about how Fiora can use her W riposte to actually negate the Shen taunt, which she did. Negated Shen taunt. Shen ends up on the opposite side of where she uses the riposte, stunned him, popped the ult, able to do true damage in 4 different points, and then with Chody Walrus there with a flash body slam, West Coast Carry had no escape options aside from his own flash.
Well, it's a teleport to lane. He's going to have some time to push that wave back, but since the wave was pressuring for the side of Maryville, it looks like Saskew is just going to be able to run right back up. Maintain teleport advantage is a pretty key factor. As we see both junglers now on the bottom side of the map starting to set up some vision, starting to just take away camps. Might be looking to posture around this dragon or some bot lane kills. Now the teleport being even. Slight favor to Shen just because it lands on a champion, just because there is an ultimate and shield to boot there. Is going to be just par for the course in the quiet enough early game that we're seeing so far. Not a lot of blood coming out this time around. Only 2 kills. Chody Walrus has them both in his hand, and so
Something interesting to talk about, not only just the kills, but let's take a look at this bot side. Looking into this river, there's actually some pretty good control ward coverage coming out from the side of RMU. We saw them do this last game as well. They did a very good job putting up those early wards, trying to protect themselves from it. But just in this case, we've seen Chody Walrus be in their jungle so much more than last game. He's putting so much pressure down onto them to police their own jungle that they're putting... Hang on.
Nah, CatGod should be okay with this one. Actually going to try to turn it around. The ultimate from Bypinks, not in full force. It's a flash forward in the wrong direction. CatGod now in some trouble. The ultimate from West Coast Carry does keep things moving for Robert Morris's mid laner, Gillette, and that's going to be a kill taken out. Kha'Zix can do a lot with an early kill. I'm sure you would have rather given that one over to Gillette, but in a situation as tense as that, you do what you can. He's on the move again. They're going to try to find the bot lane here. It's going to be a gank coming out from the side of Mordio. Nope.
He does get spotted,
yeah,
I believe.
Just going to run right off. So I thought for sure they'd be going in for that one full speed ahead, but it actually looks like the side of Maryville wants to spit back a little bit of pressure there, and they're not even going to let that waylay this tower siege.
Not at all. And that is one thing I love about Maryville is that even if they lose a little scuffle in that mid lane, they're very smart about it, right? Like, Kha'Zix was just in mid. He's probably coming down to bot to kill us. Maybe we shouldn't be there.
Right.
And so they guarded up towards that bush, and were able to not die. And that's ideally what you want.
This is likely going to be first tower if they pressure it on. You can't take the time to give it all over to Sivir. You have to both focus on it, but Mordio is there in time enough to build a reasonable defense. Will eat a little bit of his health bar there, but does bounce the wave back. So holds on to this tower for a little while, just in time for Zach to get there. We'll see if Maryville can prolong this out, still make this the siege. That gets them first blood for towers.
I think this would be the ideal location. However, Bucksack does have full health and a full mana bar.
Not anymore.
Yeah, that's
holy
true.
cow.
Oh, he's
Prototype
just
so
much
low, but they're going to fight it anyway. Forces out the ultimate. That's first tower down. Prototype thinking he may trade his life for that one. Dodges one and two few on the Qs from Bucksack, but the teleport's coming out. Fiora there with two low targets. It's a flash. Bucksack never stood a chance. Evan likely going to die here as well. Just
good slow.
Yeah, not in a position to stay alive. Bypinks doing a pretty good job with the peel, and Mordio's found Papa Chow over around the end, trying to sneak back through enemy lines. Evens it all out to a 3-3.
That's a lot of damage.
Yeah, that is a lot of damage. CatGod has it in spades. Mid and jungle versus mid and jungle. We'll see if anything comes of this. It's good position for West Coast Carry to be here, while Saskia is still in that bottom lane, just splitting out a wave. Just going to take her back off. Pressure from both sides has been find something, find something, find something. Oh my god, thank god we found it. Okay, we're just going to hang out for a little bit.
We did what we wanted to. The build-up of the last 3 minutes has been totally worth it.
What's next?
Yeah, exactly. What are we going to build up to next?
Farm some more. Get some more wards down. There's actually so much vision around this dragon for both teams.
Agreed. And I think that is something, if you're Maryville, maybe prioritize that Cloud Drake a little bit, because it plays right into your team composition. Like your run at them play style of Prototype having that Sivir ultimate, of Free Papa Chow having that Karma to speed up, Chody Walrus wanting to use those flash body slams. That's kind of like, even Fiora, like, she wants to run at you too. She wants to hit your vital points. That's something that you ideally want to do as Fiora. And so having a early Cloud Drake is going to help you a lot.
Sure. It was such a charged down composition that it would be foolish not to put some priority on it. Prototype gonna get taken out here. Mordio with a really nice engage off of an ultimate just to take it right through. It's 4 people involved in that one. Will mean some nice gold distribution coming out across the board. Saskia thought the lane swap would be good for his team, but did cost him a kill onto Prototype. Should turn him around the dragon now, is the good news for Maryville in this situation. They will pick up that Cloud Drake and remain on a dragon killing spree here.
That actually was a little bit of a misplay by Prototype, because there was vision in that bush right there for him to see Kha'Zix coming.
Right.
And he just decided to aggress onto Lulu instead of using his ult to run away sooner. Maybe at least trying to make Mordio have a little bit of a harder time get onto him. So, unfortunate play by Prototype, but at least Maryville was able to make something of it to get that dragon, which is what we talked about, really nice for the side of Maryville.
I think the Caitlyn ban Ezreal takeaway. We'll get to that in a
wow.
second. Walrus has got Pinks on the ropes. He's going to be in some trouble here. Forces the ultimate and gets a good chunk of health out of Saskew. Just barely stays alive. Not the same story for Buckzak in the top lane. Prototype finds that. They find the mid tower as well, running for their lives now. It's hard to run against a Shen. He's gonna find you. Mordio's there too. The summoner heal out for Cat God. Flash is ready, looks like, so we'll be able to use that in a pinch as well, and doesn't need to. Just runs it right out. That's impressive.
That speed boost on the heal is huge.
Yeah.
When you're trying to run away for your life using that speed boost, it's very big, and that gives them three
top lane
turrets.
takeaway.
Actually.
Yeah. They've got now another tower in the top lane falling, so they found a kill underneath it. They found a tower in mid, and then they found success pushing down that last top lane tower and drawing back by Pinks, who, while they weren't able to kill, were certainly able to neutralize.
Yeah, forced him out of the fight. He did get a very good petrifying gaze out, able to take out 2 of the 3 members that were aggressing onto him, but it just wasn't enough because there's just so much damage coming out from Cat God right now.
Right.
He only had his Morella Nomicon and I believe his Sork shoes, and the most recent pickup was that needlessly large rod, but during that last fight he did not have that. It was still just so much damage coming down onto that cast, and she actually picked up a Negatron cloak on that last back to maybe help negate some of that damage because it's just so much coming out from Cat God right now.
Well, she'll be in some trouble if Walrus has his say about this ultimate almost on cooldown. The second it is, it's popped back, but look at how good Gillette is at this game. 2v1ing and doing it convincingly, still gonna die. Saskew, just a little too slippery on that Fiora, does mean that few options for Pinks to get out of that one, but he had some slick plays to maintain pace.
Yeah, and here comes Buckzak going to be able to do a whole bunch of damage to Chody Walrus.
Yeah, Walrus is going to be in trouble if that ult connects. Does not, so is able to get away with just the blinking health bar, but their top lane tower might be answered back. We'll see if they can find anything in mid. Prototype is so good at League of Legends.
That was such a great spell shield. Taking away that taunt. Very well done. That's the second very good spell shield that we have. Here comes that
Oh, really nice knock-up from Evan, but the tower is still down. West Coast gets a little bit of a displacement with that ultimate on him, but doesn't want to follow through. They just...
He just doesn't
buy some time? What are they even doing with that play?
I actually don't know. I thought that there might have been some members maybe trying to follow up, but there's just no damage on West Coast carry, and he doesn't have like a Tiamat or a Titanic Hydra like we kind of start to see towards that late game. They kind of build into that after they get their tank items, but at this point he just doesn't have them. He's not able to put out any of the damage. So even if Evan RL is able to get an excellent wild growth ultimate off, it just doesn't matter because there's no one to follow up the damage.
We saw it, be entirely hollow in that respect. West Coast carry may not have had taunt up at that exact second. If he did, it would have just come off cooldown, but he would have chosen not to use it anyway, and so at this point, it's troublesome waters for the side of Robert Morris. Unable to answer back a lot of this as the momentum is ever slowly but surely shifting in the favor of Maryville. Rift Herald taken out, given away right before this Baron's up in just 30 seconds or so. The objectives are becoming increasingly relevant by the minute, and it seems to be the objective war that Maryville is winning.
Speaking of objective wars, is it time for a check-in with the CS war? 19 minutes and 45 seconds. I've been kind of monitoring it slowly as we've been going along. So we've seen a... Hang on. Nope.
We're not named.
No, we're not going to see anything. Wait, hang on. Chody Walrus?
Nope, just hops right away. Mordio had that leap in his hands, and so they're not too worried. Let's talk numbers.
So 13 CS differential in the top lane, but we actually do see a 2-kill difference. That's actually very big for Fiora because we've been able to see Saskew has been able to apply a lot of pressure, not just in the top lane with her ultimate and doing damage, but also around the Dragon Pit, mid lane, and in the bot lane, being where he needed to be to try to at least, maybe not necessarily help with kills, but at least assert his dominance and say, like, I am here. My team is also here. We will fight you. West Coast carry? Maybe getting a little bit caught.
He should be able to get out of this one. Does have to use the flash just to escape that command shockwave from Cat God. So good use of the ultimate from Orianna just to burn out that flash on carry. Flash taunt, huge part of Shen's kit. So taking that away from West Coast is definitely worth the shockwave there. But we'll see now if the side of Robert Morris maybe wants to try to find a pick off the back of an ultimateless Orianna here. They still have a lot of peel from their side. It's no teleport coming out from Saskew, so we'll see if they can make anything happen. They're just biding their time with Buckzak in that top lane, pressuring things back out as the side of Maryville doesn't want to stray too far away from that Baron.
That's very important. If you are the side of Maryville, you don't want to give Robert Morris a free Baron that'll help them catch back up in this game.
No.
And the other issue is they don't have a lot of ward coverage around it either. So they can't be too far away from the pit because they need to be able to use one of the 2 oracles they have on their team to kind of scout it out, and they need to be able to be close enough to try to sweep out any wards that Robert Morris might be putting down as well.
Certainly.
And the other thing that I really wanted to touch on very, very quickly about this Fiora Shin, not only just in the CS differential, but also just kind of how the pressure's been applying. When you take away that flash away from Shin, that really hurts his ability to use his Stand United and then get into the middle of a fight unless he uses it like on Mordio or if Buckzak and Pinks got aggressed on, right? And so that's very, very big, especially if you're Fiora, because now you can teleport in and basically act as a good front line for your team, really, along with Chody Walrus. You can actually just legitimately stand in West Coast Carry's way now and be able to at least peel for your team using the exploding cask, or basically just aggressing onto the back line of the enemy. And so that's a big flash to burn.
Right. As this game starts to lull a little bit, we do see the first tower pickup coming out from RMU. It's in that top lane, taken away by Pinks, the one to do the dirty work. And now that they've bounced the wave back, opened up a little bit more of that, actually. They do have a bit more comfortability around this Baron. Top lane does relieve some of that pressure there, and if they can keep the wave pushing in their favor, they might be able to just look for a miracle to get back into this game. Still only 4K down, still close in the grand scheme of things, but Maryville's been coming out. They've been putting a lot of pressure on the side of Robert Morris here. They are coming up as some would say the underdogs in this situation. Robert Morris, Alexi, the #1 seed for a reason. Maryville, #2 here, something to prove, and we've seen they have a big enough chip on their shoulders just through some social media BMing. I think it's very important for both teams to come through and win this. Very important for West Coast Carry just to get away. Does use a taunt. That's flashed on. Yeah, Saskew's there to find it, but Papa Chow now could be taking a little bit of damage from Mordio. Teleport is up from Saskew. Not a lot of mana if he's going to come into the fight. Prototype does not want to be the front line. Flash is out. Half his health taken away. And it's tense, but it's just Maryville buying some time for this split push to come through. Still 20 seconds left on West Coast, so Saskew has the option to really pressure out this tower. Only the members of Maryville just need to hang around the Baron just to threaten that one. So it's a good split push.
It is going to be a good split push happening coming out from Saskew, like you said, in that bot lane, but there's also a top lane wave being prepped and primed to push in. So that does force Pinks to rotate over there, leaving them alone with this inhibitor turret up. If this back does go through for free Papa Chow, I don't imagine they're going to be trying to apply too much pressure onto that inhib turret, maybe putting out some wards. Yeah, we see wards trying to go around the Baron pit, and that is actually very, very important. Just because Baron control, I feel like, is typically about this point in the game, and where we saw it in the last point in the game, this is where we kind of saw the game start to shift.
Right. It was right about 26, 27 minutes. Maryville got Baron and were really able to just... the first Baron, I believe.
Yeah, and they broke the game open from there.
Right.
And I think this is, if we're kind of looking at this, either a bad Baron fight from Maryville that RMU wins, or they're able to catch out 1 or 2 members and relieve some of the pressure in these lanes, is how I kind of feel RMU is going to start clawing their way back into this game.
Right.
Because trying to go straight onto the Baron is just not going to work, because there's just too much coverage and too much safety for Maryville in this area that, I mean, there's just not a whole lot that Robert Morris can do right now. And so I think they're doing a good idea, like a good job of biding their time and kind of giving them chance, get some CS, allowing themselves a little bit more time to scale up.
Right.
And catch up. Because something that we all learned based on last night's games is that if everyone has 5 damage items, the gold lead doesn't matter.
Right. It slowly starts to become more irrelevant. Don't start to see that happening until around the 45-minute mark, though, so we'd have 20 more to go if that's going to be the case. And if Maryville has anything to say about it, they're not going to let that one happen. Saskiyu's playing a slow but steady race here in this bottom lane. West Coast now knows he's got to be respectful of that one, as he was soloed out last time. Not a flash threat anymore from Saskiyu, but still damage in spades. Still a big wave building for Maryville in that top lane, and Baron pressure still in their hands. Ping's coming out all over this bot side jungle as the tension's just building and ebbing and flowing.
And that's the thing, is I don't think either of these teams are confident enough in their ability to really engage onto a fight right now without getting a good pick. Like, neither team wants to straight up aggress onto a fight. And so unless one of them gets a pick, I think we're going to kind of see this ebb and flow a little bit, except for this mid lane.
Yeah, no, they're coming in. Mordio wants to engage. His West Coast carry. He tries to go in and can't. Gets stopped right up, and now Saskiyu has every top laner's dream of the perfect split push here. Can start to build this one out. West Coast going to run for it, but now they can go right back to just pressuring around this Baron. It's a flash blown from West Coast. It's a tower down now for Maryville, picking that one up, taking it away from RMU, and Baron still being threatened, but now we're just going to lull right back into it.
And that's the big
Woo!
thing.
Shockwave
Wow.
burn. Mordio is out. Cat God, little overzealous on that one.
I think that's the thing. You might, as a player, you've got to be getting antsy in these situations, right? I mean,
Of course.
you are playing around a very big objective. You're trying to get a pick so you can kind of break the game back open, like we saw, or at least keep the game from getting out of control if you're RMU, right? And so you have to be playing very, very carefully, and so you're trying to do what you can to play what objectives you can around the map and clear out wards and whatever. But I mean, like that starts to take a toll on you. Like
Right.
playing carefully for, at this point, it's about 7 or 8 minutes that we've kind of fell into this lull.
Right.
And that's just such a hard situation to be in as a player.
And when you're so focused on not making these mistakes, the first one that you do make can be so mentally draining.
Yeah.
Right? That gets you into a mentality that's harder to come back from. That said, this is RMU. This is one of the most mentally resilient teams in the league. This is somebody who, if their series versus Grand Valley isn't proof enough that these guys cannot be counted out, I don't know what is. It's just a matter of making it happen, because at 30 minutes, closing in on 30 minutes anyway, into this game, it's been a pretty quiet one, and it's been just a few too many free giveaways to Maryville here.
Yeah, and I think it's just, and that's just like, that's Maryville being Maryville. Like playing extremely well, doing what they need to around the map and getting those catches. And Saskiyu did exactly what Maryville needed them to do on that Fiora. He was able to get going to really kind of scale that up, get the items he needed to keep up with the tankiness of West Coast carry, and at least duel him and provide a very convincing split push that West Coast carry has to respect. Like, RMU has to expect that.
We saw him kill West Coast carry, so yeah, he's filled that role for his team quite well. Been the highlight here.
Jeez.
Mordio again jumping out of the ball. Not going to be the shockwave this time, but it's going to be Chody Walrus knocking back Evan. Gone down. Mordio going to get out just in time to channel West Coast, but does get shut down. Now West Coast has a lot to deal with. Prototype going through, just blitzing them. Buckzak going to fall. It's the triple kill. Prototype looking to make this one a quadra. West Coast does not stand a chance. And that is aced out. Fiora Saskiyu already in that top lane, pushing the tower again. Right, just primed here to go. Prototype now going to take out this tower in the mid lane. That's 2 inhibitors, 20-second death times. They might want to rush the game here. They're just going to rush down the Nexus towers.
I mean, Evan RL is the only person up, and the next person up isn't Mordio for another 10 seconds.
Right, they've got the game. This is going to be game number 2 going to Maryville in one fell swoop. They find the fight, they break it open, and they win the game in 30 minutes. And some change. I mean, they just... Woo. Again, we saw just, hey, here's the in we need. We got it. Execute. Trigger pulled. It's a headshot.
Yeah.
Nobody on the side of RMU got out of that one alive. And They've blown it open from another 5K gold lead to over 10 in a matter of virtually seconds.
Yeah, that was like a 45-second span. Like 20 seconds for the team fight, 20 seconds to finish the game. And that's just, I mean, that's Maryville. That's teams like RMU, SFU. Like, I mean, these are the type of people that you see do those kinds of plays. And I think, like we were talking about, right? Like, there's so much focus on not making a mistake.
Right.
Like, that's just so tiring as a player to be able to, like, spin that long, like, okay, they have vision everywhere. We can't go there. We can't go here. Like, we have to get a pick. But where do we get a pick from? We're 10K gold behind. Like,
right.
What do we do?
Absolutely. Well, you know, we talked about the emphasis on not making mistakes. Maryville just proving why you cannot make mistakes, because that was a bloodbath. The second RMU let their guard down and made a questionable call. Did come through very quickly. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to take a break between games 2 and 3 here, but when we get back, we'll see whether it's going to be the clean sweep from Maryville or RMU bringing this series back to life and finding the first one in what would have to be a reverse sweep to get them through.